loud. All right. Hi, everybody. It's Christy. We are here for our wonderful CMA class. So today we have an hour and a half scheduled. The biggest thing is I want to be able to take the time to answer questions as we go. For those of you on Zoom, you just get to see the top of my head because I'm going to be stepping away because my big thing is I wanted you guys to be able to see the screen. So if there's any time I do something you can't see the screen, let me know. This is as close as I can get, I think. Let me see. Hold on. Ooh, I must love you guys. Is that better?
A world of better.
Look at what I do for you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Productivity, people.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to get started. Why do you think it's important to understand and fully be competent when you do a CMA? So you guys online, scream it out. You guys in class, scream it out.
So that the price is right, so that when appraisal comes back under, you can try to have good constipation.
Okay. So we definitely want to price it right so it can sell, appraisal. What else? Guys online, anybody got anything different?
No. Basically.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing about a CMA is first and foremost, understanding and knowing your market, being able to be confident, being an expert in your marketplace, and really having that that ability to go in and talk to your seller and your buyer. Don't just think a CMA is for sellers, CMAs are for buyers as well, but to be able to have that confidence in your business and in your marketing, okay? Because as a buyer's agent, it's important to know your market because you are the expert when your buyer is asking about negotiation tactics. As a listing agent, your seller is looking to you to price it right to be able to sell, correct? All right. I am going to follow this up by saying after this class, please take Scott Davidson's appraisal class. That class is excellent. It is a great way to actually understand
No, I had them.
your CMA to the next level. So we are going to log in to Georgia MLS first. Now, you will find out with me, I do CMAs very different than most people. All right. Did it just say that my username and password are wrong? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's because I logged in with my name. It is vitally important that you know your username and password before you log in to MLS. Okay, so I use 3 different criteria when I do a CMA. The first one that I use will be MLS, because of course an MLS is going to get the data that we actually put in there from listings and sales that we have in our market area. The second that I'm going to use is what's going to be called CRS or HERE, which is tax data. The reason that I use tax data is because we still live in a system where my brother's cousin's uncle's friend wants to buy my house or wants to buy grandma's house, and we're just going to sell it to them. Right? We're not going to go through a real estate agent. We just want to sell our house. Well, if we do that, those are going to still come up in the tax records. They can still be used as far as an appraised value, but how are we supposed to know what it's sold for? Right? That's still going to affect dollar per square foot. It's still going to affect ratios. However, we may not see it. So I actually still use the tax value, and I'll show you CRS, which is right here. If you go to Georgia MLS and the quick access, it actually is partnered with Zillow. So now if you go into CRS, it will show you a Zestimate, okay? Not that I'm telling you to use a Zestimate by any form or fashion, but you can see what your customers and clients are looking at if they go to Zillow. Give you some good insight. The third thing that I will use is NAR system called the Realtors Property Resource, or RPR. Why I use the Realtors Property Resources is twofold. Number one, it makes an amazing looking report, which we will see. But the other reason is because it pulls up statistics like school systems, how many distressed properties have been for sale, how many have been for sale that are 4 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms. median price points and income. It gives graphs and charts. So it actually does a lot of the back work for you so that you don't have to put all of this kind of work into a reporting system just to make it look good. Plus it gives you the numbers and systems, or the numbers for the system. Now, within Georgia MLS as well as within FMLS, there's something called a cloud CMA, which you'll see right here. Okay, you can use a cloud CMA. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. You actually have to go into a CMA wizard and set it up. I personally don't use that system because I use RPR, but you're welcome to. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a setup system like any other wizard that you go in and put your templates in that you like, put your data in and how you want to do a search. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is our standard search through Paragon. Now, I know some people do not use Paragon. They just use your regular search here at MLS. I like Paragon. Paragon has some very interesting features when it comes to reporting with some graphs and charts, which I'll show you. I'm a graph and chart kind of person. For those of you who have talked to me some, I like analytics. To me, numbers don't lie. So therefore, it's very easy to be able to get wrapped up in your numbers. All right, so we are going to do some searches today, and I'm going to pull some things from Newton County, which is where I live, and I'm going to pull some addresses that I know, simply because we're going to make it easy to search things that aren't around here, because I don't want you guys getting swayed by things that you may already know. So we're going to pull some random addresses of people that I know. Okay. And we're going to let you guys take a look. So you have someone that has come to you and they've asked you to sell 110 Baltusrol Way in Covington, Georgia. Let me spell that for you. Baltusrol Way. So here's how I do my CMA searches. First, I will pull up the single family detached just as I'm looking for property.
Did you go into listings?
I went into Paragon into search.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just searching.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I do it this way. I will first go into where you see mapping, because when we do searches for CMAs, we want to make sure we're doing it in a particular area. We don't want to map a huge area. We want to map in a radius around that particular property. Okay, so I'm going to actually go into the mapping feature. I'm going to map out 110 Baltusrol Way in Covington, Georgia, if I can spell. Okay, I'm going to hit the little search hourglass here, and I'm going to see where Baltusrol Way is. Everybody see that? Okay.
Can you spell that name?
Baltusrol. Baltusrol. Just to let you guys know, Baltusrol is the name of a golf course in New England.
After you clicked on single family detached, what did you get to get that map?
I clicked on mapping. It should be at the very top of the search screen. And in the little search bar, I typed the address. I did type the city in Georgia. I didn't type the zip because this is for Georgia. Now, right here where it says miles, I can type, this is the miles of the search radius. So because I can see right here, there's several subdivisions. You can kind of tell these are all subdivision lots right here. I'm going to put a half a mile, 0.5. Because I don't think I need to go too much further than that to get quite a bit of things around it. So I'm going to hit 0.5 as a search radius, and I'm going to just click search. All right. Now on my screen, it tells me there are 14,710 results, which is way too many because I didn't put an area in. So I forgot to put 151, which was Newton County. So I'm going to go back to my search results or my mapping. And my search results are 0.5, so I'm going to hit search. And that brings up 214 that's in half a mile around that search area. Now, granted, we have no specific criteria put in place. What do you need, Katrina? Are you just waiting?
I am still trying to write this word.
BAL, ball, BAL, TUS, ROL.
Hey, Christy.
Yes.
So if you put in the address and you say 0.5 miles around that, so in a circle around that,
Mhm.
why would you need to come back and say it's in this county? Like, isn't it understood? Like 0.5 miles from this, like even if it was the cross counties, even if it was on the
should.
county line, like that wouldn't matter, right?
However, this is also a machine, Kenny. It's not as cool as we are. And sometimes it gets things cross-referenced because let's just say for whatever reason,
I hear you.
it's thinking, who knows, a different Covington, a different something else. So it kicked me out because it's saying that there are 14,100 and whatever properties. What county are you looking in? So once I put the 151, you can see it comes back with 214.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon for our agents to do business out there. Do you have is there a good place where you have the map with all the different area numbers? Because
There
I don't
is
know
one
those
in
by
Georgia
heart.
MLS, and I'll show you where some things are in Georgia MLS at the end.
Okay,
You
thanks.
can find all that.
You got the 151 first.
Oh, yes.
151.
151 right here in the area. So you have mapping first. Property type should be SD, which is single family detached. We don't know the listing number. Status right now says A, which is active, B, which is back on the market, CK, which is contingency with a kick out, N for new, and then we have area at 151. All right, but we're going to change that because we're not just looking for property on the market. We're looking for property to do comparables for a CMA. Okay, so we're going to go right here to status. And we're going to click on the little hourglass. Come on, there it comes. We're going to also click sold and pending. Do you guys see that?
No. I have the 151 in and I have the property type, the status and area in.
Okay. When you went back to the map
Uh-huh.
and you were here and you click search results, did you click search results again? Search results. It should have come back.
There's 214.
Right.
found.
Right. That's where it should take you back to this screen. Hold on. It's throwing me back. Hold on. Let me go back to criteria.
Show results.
Yep.
Okay, I think it's showing it.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So you're now down to status.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You want to click on the little hourglass and you want to click sold and pending. Because we're looking for properties that have also sold and properties that are also pending for sale. They're under contract, correct?
Mhm.
Because when you're looking to list a property, you want to know what's gone under contract and what is sold, not just what's active. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to click save.
Hey, Christy, what date range does it pull those solds off of?
Hold on, we haven't gotten there yet, Kenny. You're jumping ahead.
Okay. Got it. Sorry.
Do smart for me. All right, is everybody there?
So how many do you have now?
I have 90.
You have 90.
Okay, did you put all the different statuses in? So everybody should have A, B, C, K, N, S, P, O, A, U, and LP.
What was that?
A, B, C, K,
Uh-huh.
N,
Uh-huh.
S, P, O, A, U, and LP.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down, like Kenny just said, where it says date criteria. We're going to click on the arrow that's going to open up on market date, close date, off market date. Like Kenny said, we can't take what's sold from when back the MLS has dates, right? We need to go 6 months back. So what's 6 months back?
6 months back from, we're in September.
So it's March. And I always just go from the first of the month.
Hey, Christy, my question was, just to clarify, my question was, when you click that sold, what does it give? Like, if with no date range, what is that giving you?
It just goes all the way back to when they had the recording of when the house was listed and sold. So you
Okay.
may have some, if the house was marketed in Paragon went back to 2014, I believe, when Paragon started. Georgia MLS actually got, they started working with Paragon in 2013 or 2014. So it'll go back to then.
I got you. And then what status did you leave out? Like withdrawn or something? Like
I
what-
left out withdrawn and expired.
Gotcha.
All right. And then once you click on end, because it could have ended any time between now and then. It had closed any time between the 1st of March and now.
Can you, oh, it didn't put, oh, yours don't put the, because you use the map and it doesn't put the name.
Right. So did everybody come up with 11? What about you, LaTanya?
Christy.
Okay, hold on. Yes, Kenny.
Christy, mine went back up to 13,000. I had got it down to 214. I went to the status and put in
Okay.
all the things you said. Then it went back up to 13,000.
Okay.
What did I not do?
Did somehow the area 151 come off?
No, I have it here in the I do have the 151 in the area.
Okay. Did somehow your mapping radius come off? Because I
Oh,
will
it did.
tell you with all of this, and we'll do it again, if your mapping radius or any of your chosen fields come off, it's very persnickety. It'll kick it all out.
It took me to 15,000 just a minute ago.
All right, so let's do all of that again. So I'm gonna get out of all of this. So I'm gonna X out of family detached and go back to home. We're gonna do it all over. All right. So we're gonna go to search, single family detached. All right, and before you ever map, you can always do it this way if it makes it easier. We're gonna go into status, and we're gonna click all the statuses, sold, pending, because that's what we're clicking. We don't pick pending approval or coming soon because those really aren't in our field yet, because pending approval is bank approval for a short sale, okay, or something of that nature. It's pending the approval of someone else. So we don't know how long it's been sitting out there, okay? We also don't click coming soon because we don't know when it's coming soon, right? Those are, excuse me?
Yes.
So then we click save. Obviously, we know this is 151, it's in Covington. If we don't know, what happens if you don't know what area it's in, but you know it's Newton County?
Just put the county.
You can go right down here with county.
Or you can put the little search,
Yep, or you can search.
the
right
little
here.
magnet right there.
Yep. Whoop. All right, we can also go down here, just like before, and put our date range back. Okay, so we have all of this already filled out.
What
Now-
date are we using?
That'll go ahead and take you down right there to 1677, and we haven't even touched the map.
What dates are we using?
We 6 months back, so I went to March 1st.
And is that for on market date or
No,
off
that's-
market?
Close dates.
Okay, close that.
That's like I put, that's the close date. That's when it closed. It's sold.
When I look up a sold, I always put it in the status date field. Is that the wrong thing to do? I
Yes,
didn't
a
really
status date is the date that it changed status. So if I go in and put it under contract, that's a status change date.
Mm-hmm.
But I could change the status of it to under contract, but that doesn't mean it's closed.
Right.
And like I have one now that was supposed to close the 24th of last month. Can I tell you how many times I've changed the status of that house?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because it still hasn't closed. But I keep changing that status to under contract because I have to move the date out.
How many times did you change?
Every 3 days when we have to do an extension. And I'm on the next change will be back active because he's not extending anymore. So we're gonna go all the way back up. Now, here's another thing that you can do.
Are you putting an end date?
Nope,
No.
because what if it closes today? I still want it up there.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go back up to the mapping. Click on the mapping. Should have picked an easier address for you guys. This used to be my house, so it's easy, so that's why. But, oh, there's no results. Well, that's not gonna help us. All right, so mapping, I'm gonna put 110. Ball, Tuss, Raw, Way. I'm gonna click on this beautiful little, all right, and I'm gonna put 25, search that radius, and then I'm gonna click search. What clicking search does is it pulls it back into your criteria.
It tells me no results when I do that.
All right. And then I'm gonna go back to criteria just so you guys can see because it automatically pulled mine. 25. Let's see what you did.
I don't know what I did.
I'm still at 24,949.
All right, Walter's Raw, like you gotta put Covington.
Can you spell that address one more time? I'm sorry.
110 BALTUS ROL.
Thank you.
Hey, Christy, is that all the criteria? Because didn't you get a different number the first time? You got like 11 or something the first time.
Hold on just a second, Kenny. All right, so there you go. All right. So you'll see you have to make sure that everything is up there and it doesn't get persnickety. Do you guys see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It can be really touchy. So I want to make sure that when you go in here in your status that you have active, back on market, contingent, new, sold, pending, pending offer approval, under contract, lease purchase.
And we should always check those categories.
Yeah, make sure, so you get them all right? Did everybody come up with 25?
No,
Okay, what'd you guys come up with?
1677.
I got 25.
I'm stuck there too at 1677.
Okay, 16, okay, let's go back into search radius. This is one thing I want you guys to look at that we just talked about. Okay, I want you to look at what I'm typing in. 110 BALTUSROL Way. Covington, Georgia. You have to type the whole address. Next, you have to click on the little hourglass so it finds it. Over here, if you are doing, you have to do, if you do 1 mile, you can hit 1. If you're doing half a mile, you have to do 0.5, and you have to click search radius. Now, if you go into it, it will show you where these are if you get closer to. Did everybody see that? Is everybody pretty close? All right. Now, once you're here, you're going to hit search. What this does is this brings up all the listings that it has found in this search area. Doesn't mean that all of these are comps, right? It just means that all of these are in that same area. Now, we're going to go with this in 2 different ways. The first way, we're going to go back to the criteria because we know the bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage of this house. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, right? So we're going to say that we do. And we know that the square footage of this house was 1,540 square feet of the one that we're comping out, right? So we're going to go down a couple hundred square feet and up a couple hundred square feet so we can get a good range. Do you guys see what I just did? You could actually, if you wanted to be safe, even go down to 1,250 because it's 1,540. So if you want to go to 1,250 and 1,750 because it's 1,550.
Your camera got blurry on the Zoom.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. It's better
Okay.
now.
But really, you're probably like 1,350 and 1,750. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Now, just doing that, what did that do to my comp number?
Take it down to 5.
Didn't it? Wow. That took it down from 25 to 5 because it pulled all the other houses that aren't close in square footage out. Okay, well, let's see what it left us. It left us 5 properties that are sold.
Christy,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see the square footage bar. Or where did you enter that?
Okay. If you go down, it'll say total finished area. It's right under the zip code. It won't say square foot. It says total finished area.
You said 1,550?
Yeah, the house that we're comping out is 1,550. So we're looking to try to make sure that we go a couple hundred feet below and a couple hundred feet above so we can get a good range of the properties in the neighborhood that are there. So we take 1,350 to 1,750 because this one's 1,540. Okay, so that leaves us 5. So to look at those 5, we go to search. All right. And here are the 5 that come up. You have 3 that are in the same subdivision as this house, which is Brookline. You have 2 that are at the cottages at Covington, or excuse me, cottages at Corydale, which are within throwing distance across the street. Let's look at them and see if they're similar. Are we ready? So this one at Brookline, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Original price, sold at the same price, $1,680. Built in 03. Looks pretty similar, or it looks just similar to our home that we're comping out. Electric, gas, concrete siding. Pretty much the same. Keep into account, sales price was $183. Seller contributions were $5,800. Next house, this is Corydale, 214,900.
Where did you go to get to the next house? Next time I
Right
told
here,
you.
see up here where you click the little arrow forward at the top of the page, by back and reports. This was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So if you had to add in a bedroom, this one would comp much higher. So this may wind up not being a comparable due to price, so keep that in mind. This one was built in 2020. The other one was built in 2013. Square footage is similar. Acreage is similar. This is 4-sided brick. And it sold for $214,000. That's something to think about. The next house is 55 Brookline. It's a 3-2, 189,900. It was built in 08. It's 1664, so it's right there. This one as well is concrete siding, so it's very similar to the first one as well as to our comparable house. And there again, it's the sales price and contributions at closing. This is another cottages at Corydale, 219,922. So here again, you're going to have to take into consideration that this is only a 2-bedroom house, so you're going to have to do the math on adding another bedroom to make it a comparable. And it was built in 2020. However, taking away the fact that it is a 4-sided brick house. Is everybody following me? How we're doing comparables. Now,
Yep.
The last house we have in this one is also a Brookline house, listed at 192,500, 3-2, same finished square footage. Also, it's not aluminum vinyl. It is actually concrete siding. I was there when they built the neighborhood. And they contributed $5,000 to closing. All right. Now,
Does that mean anything?
what?
That they contribute, what they contribute?
Yes. So the seller contribution at closing is how much money they're giving to the buyer to pay closing costs. So that comes off their bottom line. So yes, it does have a factor. It has a factor for us from a standpoint. It doesn't so much have a factor from a dollar per square foot standpoint. Now, I want to show you guys a great feature. Do you see up here where it says reports? Everybody see that? If you click on reports and you go down to CMA, CMA summary. I want to show you something. Click on CMA summary. This will come up. This is my favorite report that Paragon does, which is why I like Paragon. it will not only show you what's sold, it lays them out for you side by side, dollar per square foot, list price to sell price ratios, and your average dollar per square foot minimum to maximum, as well as your days on market. And you guys can also pick out the Brookline homes from the Corriedale homes. Do you see why they don't match up from a comparable standpoint? Do they stand out? Right? Now, let's
And
say
was that a new builder?
they're just a higher end construction across the street.
Okay.
This neighborhood, cottages at Corriedale, happened to be a 55+ neighborhood.
Oh,
Are those good comparables to use since the price is a little bit different?
Very good question. And the answer is no, they're not. But this is a good way to tell, because when you're looking at something here that is over $20 a square foot more, no, that's not a comparable. All right. However, what would you do? It's a good question, Kenny. So then you go back to your criteria and you say, okay, so I only have been initially 3, not 5, because the other doesn't work, right? So what would you do? Well, you know that the square footage is good, so maybe you need to go back to the radius, and maybe you need to make the radius bigger and look more in a dollar per square foot that stays along the lines of Brookline, right? Okay. That's going to take you here.
Are we doing 1 mile now?
I did 1 mile.
Okay.
But here's the one thing I want to tell you. You can actually move that. Let's say I'm going, okay, that's not really 1 mile. Look at where it went. It went that way. It didn't go this way, right? That's not a true mile, is it? Which is perfect. I'm so glad it did that. You can actually go here to edit, and you can take away both of those. Look at this. I'm taking away both. Do you see how I did that? And I can go here and draw. I'm going to draw a radius. I'm going to go from Brookline, which is right here. That's my subject property. I just click on it and pull. And maybe I want to pull it right here where all the subdivisions are that I just looked at, right? And I'm going to click on that. But I go out and I click on it. Well, I'm trying to click on it. It won't let me click on it. There it goes. It's temperamental, okay? And now I can go back and click search. That brought me 18 results. Now, I'm gonna go back to criteria. All right, 18. Now, if I go down and look, I still have the 13 to 17, right? I'm gonna go back up and I'm gonna hit search. Now this is gonna bring all my properties up. And now I can do the same thing again and go back through and look at every property. Well, now I've seen the properties in Brookline. Does that seem to fall in with it? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1475.
that's a new build though.
It's still a new build, but does it still seem to? Let's just take into consideration it's not a new build, but
Okay.
we're looking at it. That's a whole nother class. Okay, don't freak anybody out. Don't listen to Katrina. Okay. But yes, and then you would go through each of them and go, okay, is this a comparable? Look, Goshawk Walk. Yes. You know, this is how you would do it. Look, Bella Reeve comes back up again. Then you would go through each of them and do the same way. But then you would go, oh, look, does Scarlett and Easton Place, is this really one? It's a 4-bedroom and a 2-bath, 1350. Oh, maybe, maybe not. If it's not one, personally, whoop. Let's go back. If it is one, the other thing that you can do if you want to see them all side by side, you can actually click on a report and click on CMA and look at a quick view. It's going to kick all of them up for you side by side.
Well, that look like a
And then you can go, okay, I want to click on this one. I want to click on this one. And then I'm going to go to the next page. Oh, you know what? That's not one. That's not one. Leverett's not. We already talked about that one. No, oh, Monticello's really not. And you're going to click the next page. Oh, you know, Deering's not. David Circle. Oh, look, that one is. That one is. Oh, look, yeah, that one is. That one's not. That one probably is. That one is. And I'm just not even really reading them. I'm just picking properties because we're doing this. This one is, and yes, this one is. So I picked my properties. So I'm gonna go back and hit checked. And only the properties that I checked will come up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties. Now when I do the report, do you see how much better things line up? We have one kind of outsider, right? But we don't have multiple outside or 2 outsiders. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone? Do you guys see how I did that? All right.
Yes.
We're going to keep this number in mind. This is how I do my CMAs to kind of see if I'm right there. I take the average. So I'm looking at an average here. Look at these numbers, 186.5, 184.7, right in there. Just kind of remember that number in your head.
Wait, so it already does the average for you?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the 184? Why is that lower?
This one, because this is list price to sale price ratio, this is what's sold.
Well, that's what extra.
Yeah. Okay. It listed roughly at here. This is what it sold at. So remember like 185,000
Okay.
in your head.
Okay.
Okay. Roughly. That's just a rough number, but remember it because that's why we do a CMA is we don't do it. There's no math magician to this. All right. I'm going to go to CRS. Here's the next step in all of this, which is why I do it this way. When you go to CRS, it'll actually pull up all the information. There's the house, okay? Shows you who owns the house, when they bought it, all the wonderful information for CRS. If you go to our KW YouTube channel, I did a tech time on all this and some of the fun things to do with it. What I want you guys to look at as you're going through all of it, you can see here where I actually own the property, is comparables. If you click on comparables, the MLS tax suite is going to come up with a rough estimate of what the house is worth. Now, you remembered our number that we just did when we went through all those houses?
And which one are you looking at? The average sales price or
The average cost per square footage.
the average cost?
Now, you can look for average sales price to tax price ratio too, either one of these.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Now, I'm gonna show you how we can edit this a little bit. But I'll tell you why I look at these numbers. These numbers are going to be lower than what you see in MLS. Did you guys hear that? These numbers are typically lower than what you see in MLS because tax numbers are. And that's a good thing because this is where they get your property taxes from. So they're typically lower. But you wanna see that you're in the same range. If this came back to me and told me 142, we got a problem. Christy's way off on what she's searching for, or I got the wrong property. Do you guys understand that? Online?
Yeah, for that double check, just to
Yep.
make sure.
Yep, you definitely want to double check. Do you also see where the Zestimate comes in? Now, I got $10,000 less than that Zestimate. Okay, now it's not too far off. but it's still $10,000 difference, right? Okay. Now, if you go down, you can actually add improvements here. Now, let's say that this house had a bigger lot than all the other houses. Let's say this house just had a complete interior remake, all new bathrooms, all new kitchen. Let's say this house just had, I don't know, a new roof, a new HVAC unit, a new hot water heater, and the whole, I don't know, let's throw out something crazy. Like the whole new electrical had to be done because it got hit by lightning. Now, do you think that that could probably add maybe $4,500, right? Uh-huh. That would make sense, right? Maybe not $10,000, but maybe it would add a little bit, right? Okay. You can come down here and see the comparables, what tax records have that have sold. Now, it's going to automatically come up with 0.75, and it's going to automatically come up the last 12 months. I naturally change this to 6 months because that's what we look at. And I will also start out with 5, and then I'll change it.
Ooh, that thing went down.
5 where? Oh, 0.7.
Because it only comes up with 4.
Yeah.
So that's when I'll go back up to a mile. If it only goes down to 4 comps, I'll go back up to a mile or 0.75, wherever I can get a realistic amount of comps.
How many do you want?
I like to have at least 5 or more.
And what's the mix of those, Christy? Like you how many solds versus how many actives versus how many under contract? Like how do you weight your comps? Like as far as what status they're in?
And honestly, the biggest thing that I want to see is that it's pulling a good mix. That it's not pulling everything that's, and tax records aren't going to pull it. They're just pulling houses. But I like to see that there's a good mix when I'm pulling comps for MLS. The only thing that's going to happen is there is going to be a time where you pull nothing because there's nothing else for sale, like right now. When you're pulling comps right now, there is a 99% chance there is nothing on the market. So you're going to have to go by what's sold. And that's just the market.
When you put in the improvement, how do you know how much to put in?
Okay, when you're, and this is going to have to be from research. You're going to have to research how much does it cost, like dollar per square foot. So if I added a 12 by 12 room, okay, if $1 per square foot in this neighborhood is $112 a square foot, and my room is 12 by 12, got to go back to real estate school, right?
Or take that Scott Davidson class.
Take the Scott Davidson class.
Spreadsheet.
Yep, and you put it into the spreadsheet. You know, it's really that easy. It's $1 per square foot times how many figure you adding in. On the other hand, if it's a new kitchen, and you know it's roughly $5,000 for a new kitchen, for granite countertops and new appliances, then that's a $5,000 upgrade, right? So that's kind of where
So
you're.
you ask for how much you pay, what was the receipts?
You never want to, you have to take an average for the market. You can never ask them what they paid because they're always going to overpay. Everybody does because they're going to choose their own nuances because what they choose in their house may not be the standard. So you have to take a standard. They don't like that, but you do. The other cool thing is if you decide that you want to just have the neighborhood, go subdivision. And you can see what you've done in the subdivision. Okay.
Hey, Christy.
Yes, sir.
So one thing, what you were saying just now, like in the current market, you might not see nothing on the market, like only sold stuff.
Correct.
So if you had a bunch of sold stuff, like what would be your kind of tips on like how to price it? Because you know what you listed at might not be what it sells for. So like negotiating and stuff like that, like
Well,
you can't really price it with the market because there is no market.
well, and in that reality too, that's where if you feel uncomfortable with it, Kenny, you have to talk to other agents and really sit down and have that conversation. Here's the perfect example. You see all of these here? I closed on 55 Brookline on Friday. And I'm gonna scroll down. There was nothing in the community for sale. Nothing. Everything had sold. I listed it at 189.9. It sold for 189.9. Now,
I
it didn't sell for 195. However, I had a new roof, all new flooring, new electrical, because lightning struck and hit half of the house and not the other half of the house. So Snapping Shoals had to come out and rewire half of it. Had all new landscaping done, but I'm realistic. Was I going to get $10,000 for that? No. But was I going to get a couple $1,000s for having all of that redone? Yes. So I priced it according to what the sold was in the market, because I couldn't price it according to what was listed because there was nothing listed.
It's blurry. What number does that say up there?
This one,
Yes.
that says 187, 169. Now, would it have been nice to list it for 195? Yes. Would it have appraised for that? I do not believe so.
Yeah, because the whole point of all this is trying to get to a price that you want to list it at, or at least like give them a range or something. Like, did you get to that part, or would you give them a range of kind of where to pick from, or do you just kind of give them the average and say, you know, it's going to be somewhere around here?
Technically, I don't ever give an average. I don't ever give a range. I say, here are these comparables. Here's what I found. Do you see this dollar per square foot? Yes. Do you see what homes in your neighborhood have sold for? Yes. Seeing this data, it's reasonable to say that your house will sell for what? And I let them tell me. If they say it out of their mouth, it's real to them.
Gotcha.
I don't ever price the house. It's much easier if they price it for me.
What they gonna budge on their, you know, like if they go above, like you said, 189, it's like, well, Zillow said,
Well, okay, you know what? I appreciate that you say that, Katrina. And you know, I can be flexible. And it is seller's market. So let's make a compromise. In the first 5 days, it's known that if a home does not go under contract, it goes down 50% in the amount of time it takes for a home to go under contract. We've seen that on NAR, correct? So the first 5 days, I will give you to list it at 195. If we have no contract, we go to my price. Agreed? All right, there you go. Because the first 10 days are the first critical days on the market. She gets 5, I get 5. She gets it under contract in her 5 days, fantastic. I will say, Katrina, you're the smartest person I know. But if not, I still get 5 days on the market to get the house sold.
Well, Christy,
So
kind of the cool thing is that you get to pick your price, because if there's nothing else on the market, you kind of be to say, hey, if anybody wants this price, this is what it is, because there is no other option.
Not necessarily, because you start doing that, not only are you not going to, your house is not going to appraise, but especially if it's FHA, if your house appraises with FHA and it does not appraise for what the asking price is, you're stuck with that price for 6 to 9 months. I know FHA was looking at pushing it to 9 months. Right now it's 6 months, which means if you list your house at 195 and it appraises for 170, nobody with an FHA loan can purchase your house for any more than 170 for 6 months. Do you want to do that to yourself as a seller?
No. Good information. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
You're fine, but
Okay, I have a question.
I can come back with a devil's advocate all day long.
Question here, Christy.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you print this off and take this with you along with the other one from? Okay, so
it's the chart that I printed from MLS under the CMA summary. I print the property report and the comparables. And I'm going to show you the big one that I print and I leave with them.
Okay, that was the last question. What do you leave with them?
No, I'm going to show you right now, because this is the one that makes a difference. Am I what? Say it again. They have chicken salad sandwiches? The plate's fine. If they have a sandwich, great. If not, the plate's fine. Okay. All right.
So you did Paragon, CRS, and what was the other one?
This is NAR RPR. This is the Realtors Property Resource through the National Association of Realtors. Oh, no.
How'd you get to that?
Check it in.
Yes, this is the one you have to create an account.
Also, where you can download the app?
Huh?
Download the app too.
You can download the app too, yes.
I'm gonna wanna print it, cause I got one that I'm gonna have to do.
Well, the big thing is getting in, because I gotta remember my password. Woo! Okay, I was scared there for a minute, guys. I didn't know if I could remember my password. Okay, so when you log in and you set up your account, because it will take a couple minutes to set up your account, the great thing is, number one, it's gonna already brand to you because it knows your brokerage, and it's gonna already come up with all of these great tools. It already has a commercial section and a residential section. You can download the app and use it as you're traveling around, which is pretty great. RPR. All right, and I'm not gonna go through a whole bunch of this stuff because there's so much on here. I'm just gonna show you the one functionality because it's gonna take a little bit for us to go through it. So I want you to go up to the top to reports, and I will talk to you about the reports. Come on, reports. There it comes. It's just slow. All right, look at this. Look at all these reports. All right, property report, seller reports, property flyer, mini property flyer, evaluation workbook, a marketing activity report, neighborhood report, or school report. You can see all of these reports on here. Okay?
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how the clients sometimes ask, is this a good school district? Is this a good neighborhood?
Well, the big thing you can say is, you know what? Every school district and every neighborhood is good for someone. You need to see if this one is right for you. You need to give them the website for the Chamber of Commerce or for the county and let them look themselves. Don't fall into that fair housing trap,
Right.
okay? Because Chamber of Commerce or the school district, like Henry County Schools, Newton County Schools, because the whole thing is every neighborhood and every school district and every county is good for somebody. It's your client or your customer's decision if it's right for them. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do a report. So we can change this address. All right. So let's say we were doing that same property. The great thing is, just like command, when you start typing in an address, it should automatically come up. Bam. You see that? Now, we can select a report. You can see a sample of each of these reports. Now, let's say we're doing a report for a seller or a report for a buyer. If it was a report for a buyer, a property report will be just fine. Okay? If it's a report for a seller, you can click on a seller's report. Now, you can actually pick what you want in the report. Do you see these custom pages? Look at all these.
I finally noticed with all the check marks where I stopped giving them the buyer.
Yeah, you don't need all of them, right? You don't need all these. Now, I'll go back up here, guys, and click on the property report so you can see what's in there, because there's some really cool stuff in the property report. Because look, the school summary report's in the property report. So if you are actually printing a report, and we'll print the property report. If you're printing one to leave in the house so that people that come view the house can see it, this is a great one to do, so because you can actually see the schools and you can see the grades of the schools. Okay. Also, you can upload your information. I need to change that because that says 2018. You can suppress information, but I'm going to go ahead and click everything just so you guys can see it.
What does suppress information mean?
Huh?
What's the suppress information?
Means you don't want to see it.
Oh, you don't.
I can include their information if I wanted to email it directly to the buyer or seller. Delivery method, I don't want to deliver it, I just want to download it, and notes. All right, here's the great thing about this. I can click on Run Report, and I want you guys to watch. What does it say? 2 minutes. Okay, now, besides me clicking on what I wanted, did I look up anything on MLS?
Oh, yours only had
No.
a doorbell when
It's not done yet.
Oh.
Did I have to pull up any facts or figures? Did I have to do anything special except pull up the website and put in an address? Right? Do you guys see that? And there it is right there. See, it's yellow, it's finalizing, right? Now, the great thing is, the more populated the area, like in Atlanta and Henry County, when you've got subdivisions, or like in Covington, it's faster. If you have more rural areas, it's a little bit slower, because I can tell you this one right here, because that was one that I was doing for my aunt, because she wanted to deal with killer offers and iBuyer. That sucker took forever, because that's down in South Georgia and there's not a whole lot of properties. But the rest of them, kind of quick, doesn't take too long. So we'll actually see what comes up and happens here. And I like looking at these too, because we've just done 2 reports. And what kind of price point? We said we saw like 185, 188. The estimate said 195. I said I listed mine at 189.9, right? So we kind of have that price point. All right, look, the report has been generated. We're going to look at the report. Now, this is the way it comes up. I don't have to do anything. First and foremost, it prints a pretty picture if there is one online. As you can see, this is when I lived there. Look at the H on the door. How beautiful. And my husband was very proud of that grass. Puts your information up there. Okay. The next thing it does, it actually shows you where it is in the neighborhood. Shows you the sold date. It also is a disclaimer. This report contains the data information publicly known, blah, blah, blah. Home facts. Extended home facts. Property photos. Property report. Historical photos. Here's the comps and adjustments. Why does that say no comps have been selected for this home?
Yeah, put in there to customize the comps.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, guys, I did something wrong. Let me do it again. I did the suppress it. Hold on, I did the wrong one. I was talking to Katrina, she messed me up.
How many pages?
You like 70 something. It'd be long.
Keep a couple of extra toner cartridges at home.
Well, I don't usually print the whole thing. Like that one is 29 pages.
Hold on. Let me get back. Let me see if it'll let me do it again.
How many printed documents do you need to take to the listing appointment? Christy.
There it goes. I don't carry this whole thing. I don't carry it. I'll email it to them the day, like within an hour before I go.
And what about the other 2 with CRS and Paradigm?
I print those, but I print them in black and white, like draft. Those are, I don't leave that with them. That's for my notes so I can show them what I've done.
Okay.
And I'll show you why, because when they get this, they're not gonna wanna read that.
Okay. So you email them the NAR report.
Yes, and you'll see why I email it to them, because this thing is beautiful. Sorry guys about that. I clicked the wrong, clicked to suppress it. And the reason I clicked to suppress is when you suppress it, it's not gonna show the stats and statistics, That's when I email it to the client, because it's not going to show them a comp price. It's just going to show them all the pretty pictures, but I want you guys to see it. So I apologize about that. Sorry. I just wanted to keep you guys in here a little bit longer, so I had you the whole time.
No, that works. I actually have to do a listing coming up. Woo, congratulations. And I got questions though. I got questions.
Honestly, the best thing to do, Ms. Ivy, is just you need to do these. Like, do them over and over. Just pick a random property and do it. Do it till you feel comfortable with it, because these are all about you just being able to understand how to use the system. But this system uses itself, which is great. Okay, let's do this again. Here we go, guys. All right. Great pictures. All right. This is why I got confused. Okay. Property report. So what did we say before? The numbers. Ready? Ready? Woo. Okay. So let me show you something about what RPR does. All right. You will see a couple of things. Here, the last update for this was 8/25. It's when it pulled its facts and figures. The end of last month, okay? That's when RPR did its pull. This is the ratio and value of the range between 177 and 208. Comparable that is pulled. And it pulls from sales and tax data and MLS. That's why I like this. It pulls from everything. The confidence level, all right? This is how confident RPR is in its CMA. 5 stars. Okay. Change in the last month, this neighborhood, this home has increased in value $5,790. In the last 12 months, 4.53%. Not too shabby, right? All right, so home facts, extended home facts, the lot size, what they paid, the schools, property photos, FYI. Okay, adjusted comps. Now it's going to pull up the additional property records for this that it pulled from, as well as it's going to show you the mortgage and what was paid on the mortgage. So it goes deep, a lot deeper than you see in tax records. And here's where the property report comes in. This is what's impressive. Let me see if it'll let me do it. So it's not quite so jumpy. No, it's still going to be jumpy. This shows you the neighborhood housing statistics. 30014, the median estimated home price, the list price, the changes, the median age, who rents, who owns. Isn't that impressive? Does this tell you who you need to market to, why you need to market to them? This tells you the median sales price versus volume. The median listing price versus volume. It's pretty good. Look at that. That's pretty awesome. Nothing's dipped, which means they've stayed right there together. Single family home versus land lots. 1 foreclosure has been listed in this zip code. That's pretty good, okay? Holding property value. Square footage. Do you see how this information not only, and this is realistic, I'm not telling you to know all this information. I'm telling you, do you see how this information sent to a seller, how this puts you in the forefront of looking like an expert in your field? Okay, now, don't not read this. Know this information when you go to the listing appointment. Don't just go in and go, oh my gosh, Katrina, there were more houses. I can't believe there was like 25 houses and the median home price is 280. And you're like, oh yeah, yeah. What? I mean, you know, you've got to know the information, but this is a great way to have it all laid out in a way that your seller, your buyer, can feel that confidence in what they're actually purchasing and what you're actually doing for them. Look at this. This shows you the amount of sizes of homes in this zip code in comparison. How impressive is that? Shows you people got houses too big. I'm just throwing it out there. Need smaller houses, people. Look, neighborhood and people stats and charts. Population. 35,000 people out of 106 live in East, live in 30014. We know the bulk of people in Newton County live in 30016. Because look, I see that's not very many people, right? Male to female ratio. Look at that. That means it's almost 50-50. That's pretty good. That usually doesn't happen. And here's the property report, okay? This is levels of education. I mean, it goes down. Look at this. I mean, this is really some pretty hardcore stuff. This tells you literally how you can market to people, households with children. I mean, do you want to market to the SRE group? There is a senior designation to be able to market to people without children. Okay.
What did you say the RVM stands for? Revenue volume?
I mean, yeah, that's the ratio and volume metrics. The economic status and charts. Now, granted, this is just this year, unemployment rate. Because that also lets you know, look at here. Our biggest in Newton County, I can tell you this, is manufacturing and healthcare. That's who we are. We're a blue collar community. It would be very different if you looked in other communities. That's what we do.
So when you tell them that, because the RVM gives you a range,
Mm-hmm.
right? So do you tell them, listen, because I know when I'm talking to you, I say, you're going to be within this range.
Yeah, and I say, this is the range, what we see in the 30014 zip code for your area. This area around you where they're pulling from your comps. You are here, but here's the range around you, which is great because, bam, you're on the higher end of your range.
Right. So I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense because my neighbor down the street said they sold their house for and they never lied because
And this shows you all the high school, like the statistics.
they really like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. Does anybody have any questions on that? I love that report. And this tells you about RPR.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this you said that you print one and leave it with the seller? Is this the one you leave with them?
This is the one, I don't print it. I email this to the seller
Oh, okay.
right before I go. Now, if I want to take snippets of it, I'll take snippets of it. Now I have, and I'll tell you, if I have what I consider a luxury listing, so something over 500,000, I will print portions of this, put it in a notebook with the seller's disclosure, and I'll leave it on the table. So as people come through, they can see it, like maybe schooling statistics or the statistics of the median income or things like that, that may be, because people with luxury listings, they may not be from that area that are coming to look at luxury listings. They may be moving into the area. So I'll print that, but I don't print all of this. This is 29 pages of color. I'll only do that if it's a good investment. Let me put it that way. If it's a good investment for the listing, yes. If I did this for, $125,000 house for my aunt in South Georgia, no ma'am, I'm not printing that. It's a lot of ink. Like Miss Daffy said, it's a lot of ink.
So the comps that you
I'm not
had,
printing on that. But the great thing is, if you needed to print it for some reason, it's a great tool. And what I love about these three, and this is why I do three. Overall, let's be honest, we did them step by step by step. And it only took us an hour and a half. And we did step by step by step. And some of them we did multiple times. Do you feel that this property that we did 3 different times, 3 different ways, some of them multiple ways, that you could, without seeing the property, feel pretty confident that you know what it's going to sell for? You could probably list it between 182 and 193 to 195. You know it's going to sell somewhere right in there, right? And you've never seen the house. Now, if you get to the house and it's a dump, yeah, you might have to reevaluate, right? But otherwise, that's what this does, okay? Now, I will be the first to tell you, I am not an appraiser, okay? That's the one great thing Scott Davidson's got on me. However, over the years, I've been able to use these 3 reports to be able to narrow that down, that I can go in a house and be able to justify saying I'm on the higher end of that range or the lower end of that range, right? Because I can go in and say, I went in a house yesterday. The entire house is going to have to be gutted and redone. It was built in 87. I can tell you it was built in 87. Right? I can tell you, because now on the flip side, everything in that house was upgraded in 1987. I mean, like the fixtures on the doors were fantastic. I mean, they were real. They were brass and they were heavy in 1987. Now that was great then, and that was considered upgraded, but now it's not considered an upgrade for my clients, right? Mm-hmm. So even though the house was immaculately maintained and looked beautiful, it was still not considered an upgrade today. So those are the things that you have to justify. And even though, yeah, it's all brick, yeah, it's got a lot of acreages, a lot of acres, and it's, you know, it's beautiful. What's the deterrence that's going to take away from what once was considered an upgrade? All right. And like I had to tell a client, landscaping's not an upgrade. That's going to help your house get picked over your neighbor's house, right? New flooring is not an upgrade. That's it. Your house don't look like a mess because you had a dog. That's going to get your house picked over your neighbor's house. Yeah.
What's the true upgrade?
Kitchen, bath renovations. Okay. If it's something that you have to do, that you would have to do because you live there, yes, ma'am.
Do you want white or wheat bread?
Wheat.
I'm sorry, that's not wheat bread. What toppings?
Nothing.
Just chicken salad bread. With just chicken salad bread.
If you lived in that house for 10 years and you would have had to do it because you lived in the house 10 years, it's not an upgrade. A tree went through your roof and you had to replace it. You'd have to replace it to still live there, right, Katrina? Yeah, it's not an upgrade. Your HVAC went out. It's hot. You gonna get a new HVAC? It's not an upgrade.
Well, my cousin, she's trying to sell her house and she's getting her carpet taken up and putting on wood floors down.
That's
She
fantastic.
thinks that it's gonna add.
That's not an upgrade. Now,
Yeah, and this is a
if
hard
she
conversation.
gets true bamboo flooring,
I love it.
that is, you know, $7, $8 a square foot, then yes, that's considered an upgrade because that's not something she would normally get as wear and tear.
But
But-
is she gonna get the full value back out of it?
She going down to, you know, 1-800 floor or 50 floor or whatever. No, that's probably not an upgrade. Okay, so you have to be very realistic with people. You can still be nice and say, listen, if it's a normal wear and tear on your house that you would have to do, it's not considered an upgrade. Now, if you rip out your entire kitchen and you put in all new cabinetry and you put in granite countertops and you put in, you know, the tile flooring that looks like wood, and you put in all stainless appliances and the 8-burner cooktop, that's an upgrade. Why? Because do you need any of that in your kitchen? No. right? So you have to think about it in those terms. If it's a necessity, it's not considered an upgrade, okay? Now, landscaping is not a necessity, but yet it's a sellability piece of the puzzle, as well as neat, clean, and tidy house with Febreze plugins. All right, so online, before we wrap up, guys, is there any questions that any of you have that I can answer for you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you pull the comps to the third method that you use, how did you pull the comps and have the same comps? And did you get this? You got the same number that you had before that you
I
felt
used RPR.
ready for?
Yes, and the RPR came up at 193.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's what you're gonna go with?
No, that's where I haven't looked at the house yet. These are the comps that I pull up, and then I make that final decision on price
Based on condition.
based on condition. Because yeah, if that house is immaculate and it looks great and it's in perfect condition, yeah, we probably could do 193. But I will tell you, for example, we just talked about the house I just sold. I was not going to paint. I was done. I spackled all the walls. I cleaned them with a magic eraser because my loving mother hung stuff everywhere. I went through a whole thing of spackle. You know that those spackle cans? I spackled everything, sanded it. It was ready to be painted. I was not going to paint. So I said, you know what? I'm taking money off of it. They can take $2,000 and paint it themselves. I'm not doing it. So I came off the price. So I probably could have gone up to that price point, but I didn't because I was just done. So that was my choice. But there again.
How do you know the comps that they pick?
Actually, if you do the seller's report, you can actually pull it up. It'll show you the side-by-side comps. I just didn't pick that one because it's like 56 pages long.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you guys, you can go through and view these. Go through and take a look at some of these different ones. Go through and play with this because this is a huge tool that you guys can use to your benefit. And just like we did with the CRS online and we did with the Georgia MLS, you can do the same thing with FMLS. I want you guys to play with this cloud CMAs. You guys may find that you like that better. FMLS has a great one as well. There's so many wonderful tools out there for you to use. These three were just quick and easy ways and simple ways to help you get started with finding some comparables and being able to take a look at properties and being able to take a look at ways that you can start doing some comparables for properties as you are getting out there in the marketplace to talk to buyers and sellers. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. This was great to be with you today. And next week, I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday as we talk about contracts. Now that you are
gonna
get all these great things under contract with your listings.
Are you gonna post this?
Yes, I'm gonna post this. This is going to be on the YouTube channel. And next week, it is the same time on Friday, 11:30 to 1.
Thanks,
All
Christy.
right, my fabulous,
Thank you,
wonderful
Christy.
productivity people. I will talk to all of you soon.
Thank
All
you.
right,
All right.
thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.